using K20 lessons and strategies. The majority of those strategies that I use, the kids love. Some of them even surprisingly. I'll give one example that you wouldn't think would even be a big deal, but the cuss and discuss strategy, where you circle things in an article and underline and star them based on whether they're surprising or troubling or interesting. How this helps the kids understand what they're reading is like open their eyes to, it makes the reading more interesting for them. It makes the class flow better. And then that's true of all the strategies. That's just the one that really sticks out the most for me. Class has been more fun using these strategies, and it's been probably the most beneficial professional development I've had for that reason.
My students have responded by asking, are we going to get to do the fun lessons again today? So they really enjoy it when we kind of shake things up and do something different by using some of the learned lessons. Well, I've noticed the shift because they are more excited. Are we doing group work today? Do we get to do the different activities? Like, it's an excitement that they have when they come here and they're ready to learn. Then some of these kids actually get sad if we're not doing it. If I say today we're just going to finish up this worksheet in our book, they're like, oh, we can't do the activities.
They have learned to love to learn, and that, it's so rewarding as a teacher. When your students enjoy what they're doing, it makes everything less intense. And when people are happy, they learn more. When
your students are engaged and they want to come to your class, they're excited to come to your class, then it makes your class go a lot smoother and your students, I think, learn more.
I already discussed the cuss and discuss, but the 3-2-1, some of these things sound so simple. All of them work. 3-2-1, the card sorting, all that kind of stuff. I found it interesting that the 3-2-1 kind of switches their brain, because that countdown thing, instead of going, we have 25 questions on something, and then they're thinking, well, then you're like, well, I'm going 1, and then I got all the way to 25. Well, 3-2-1, they're answering 6 things, right? They're basically, but they don't realize it, and you're going from the big side to the small side, so the relief comes from doing the activity immediately. I know it only takes a few minutes, but just that strategy just switches their, but what? 3-2-1, okay, here we go. And it's kind of a psychological thing, and it just makes it easier for them to want to participate.
My kids really enjoy the optic lesson, especially with art. So, because it gives them an opportunity to study something and ask questions. And so in art, we like to do that with different pieces of art. So that one's a really good one that we use.
I'll be honest, in the beginning, I'm like, well, it's just another professional development and I already do this stuff and everything. But yeah, that's changed. Not only has, in the beginning, it was like, well, I'm just going to use a few of these strategies. And now it's like, almost every lesson I do is some kind of teaching strategy. Almost every day I use a K20 teaching strategy. It lightens my load as far as, and gives me more time to think about all the other things you have to think about, like, where am I headed in my lessons? What am I doing? And it frees up the stress because the kids respond to the strategies, the communication flows. The flow is so much better than just kids sitting in rows, taking information. They even, it helps them create the information as they go. My classroom is much more student driven. We did labs and everything because I teach science, but I used to be really traditional. Okay, we're going to take these notes on Monday. We're going to review these notes. We're going to do a lab on Tuesday. And that process is not necessarily bad, right? But it becomes very mundane, and it's not always student friendly at the high school level. I would say I've improved my teaching strategies, probably improved double, as far as the success of my class using the K20 strategies.
I think at first there wasn't a whole lot for electives, and I kind of came in thinking, how does this relate to me and what I teach, and how can I use this? And then it just kind of dawned on me that you can take art and music and you can use these same strategies and you can fit them for whatever it is that you're teaching or touching on. And so once I realized that I was able to do that, it was another opportunity to teach the material in a different way, in a fun way, to get out of just the monotony of it. So kids really enjoyed it. It kind of gives them a brain break from the norm, and then gets them back on track. And so it's been very beneficial.
We have a new science teacher, and I pointed her in the direction of, the K20 website and these learning strategies and things. And, being a new teacher, sometimes she panics, like she thinks she has it all done, but then she gets there and she's like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, hey, why don't you just do this 3-2-1 thing? Hey, why don't you just do commit and toss thing? And that'll help you get to a point where you can think. And I've passed it on to my daughter. I've had a superintendent from another school in Oklahoma. What do you do about that? Because at their school, they're having some struggles in science. And he's like, what do you do? Have this teacher get on this K20 Center and just every unit that she has, if there's a lesson in there, just have her do it. Schools, they come up with all kinds of things to do, like different processes and different professional development, et cetera, but this is the one that has helped me the most. This is the one that I sell the most to other people. Yeah, I've been teaching 25 years, and this is the best thing I've ever used, honest to goodness.
Well, he shared it with me. So the first year that they started the cohort, him and our daughter were doing the K20, and I was not, and I got to see some of the things they were doing and the experiences they were getting. And so the next year I was able to get into the cohort so I could join and be a part of it, just based on the things I saw the two of them doing.
My classroom has already evolved so much. All the strategies that I've used, the more you use them, the more you improve on it. And also you find new ways to use the old strategies.
They're very adaptable lessons, and so in the future I will be using more, especially when I'm introducing new concepts.
And to add to what she said there, I haven't tried all the strategies yet. So there's more to try, more to do. Honest to goodness, the first professional development in my life that I'm sad that it's ending.
I teach choir and art, so there's not a lot of professional development that relates to what I do. So a lot of times we sit through professional development that's just not really,
applicable.
Yes. And so this was one that you could finally take and you could modify things so that you could add a piece of music, or you could modify it to an artwork, or you could modify it to fit the needs of what you're doing in any elective. So it was really great. It's been a great experience. Teresa is a phenomenal rock star. She has been amazing. Not only have we made a connection that we will probably keep through life, but we've made a friend. And so she's just been an absolute rock star.
And she's just so natural at it, It makes you feel so comfortable with what you're doing. When she would come in and do her evaluations, there was like zero stress. A lot of times somebody comes in here like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And that's so helpful because it makes you want to learn more and want to continue to improve. And Teresa, she's been over backwards to help us in any way that we've needed.
Oh, she brings me all kinds of supplies and art materials.
Dude, not just stuff from the K20 Center. She buys this stuff she finds at on sale in stores, garage sale stuff. She brought me like science kits that she bought at
Said,
the
I
garage
think you
sale.
can use this in art.
Yeah.
She'll bring us some great
And I can
stuff.
guarantee you, she does that with everybody.
And who else do we have to shout out?
Oh,
Holly.
Liz, Holly, Heather, you know, those connections and that community. That's another thing, the community of the K20 thing. I don't just come here feeling like somebody's talking down to me. Like, I've done it, you can do it, and I'm the best, and you can be the best. Have a great day. They're not like that at all, you know? And they'll tell you things that they did wrong, and they'll tell you you just feel like a family.
The connections.
The connections has been great.